Hi, hey, hello, kumusta? It's Justice Savannah. Welcome to this podcast. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful day ahead of you. With that being said, get your cups and thoughts ready as we brew your random dose of coffee and the psyche. Let us start this off by making chica about what happened to me this week. So, as I am recording this, today is a Thursday. So, Tuesday evening, we went out to get ice cream, Kylo and I. This was after dinner. So, it was around 8 in the evening. We always go to this local coffee shop because we just love how the ice cream tastes more authentic rather than frozen up. I don't know. It tastes more fresh. So we went to this coffee shop at around 8 in the evening, and guess what? The Northern Lights decided to say hi. Aurora Borealis itself. And this is not my first time seeing it in real life. It was actually my second time. The first time, it was also on a random night, but it was all green. It was so mesmerizing. It was so beautiful. It was my first time experiencing it in real life, and I was just taking pictures with my camera using the night mode feature, and it's so pretty. It was dancing. Like, I don't know the scientific explanation to it, but the northern lights are dancing to the naked eye. They're dancing, they're doing a show for you, and it's a free show. So I was out there taking snapping pictures, so it's a win-win for me. But yeah, last Tuesday evening, the northern lights, though, the color was pink and green, and it was my first time seeing a pink northern light. I didn't even know that the pink one exists, not until my friend Asia, who lives in Colorado right now, sent a photo of it on our group chat. And I was just in awe of how beautiful it was. By the time that I saw it, though, it was like more faded pink. So it was more of like a subtle pastel pink. But Asia's picture, it was a bright pink, like fuchsia pink kind of pink. But yeah, sometimes random things like this that we don't really expect to see on the daily gives us the most mesmerizing sensation, most mesmerizing feeling. It reminds us how small we are as a human being, that we're literally just a speck of dust out of what the world, what the God has created. So it just reminds us of how beautiful God's creation is, and we don't even have to pay anything for it to witness such an incredible show. All we have to do is just look outside and appreciate the beauty of nature. This reminds me, those moments being a passenger princess, because right now I am a full-time passenger princess. Sometimes out of habit, we'd rather go to our phone and scroll social media all throughout the ride. Only because we already know the way to our destination. We're already familiar with the turns, the traffic lights. We're already familiar with some establishments around the area. So, in our head, we tend to just scroll through social media to look at what's new or what's popping. Is anybody using the term what's popping now? I don't know. So sometimes we don't even bother looking at the window just because in our minds we're already familiar with the surroundings. Honestly, most of the time the ride gets nicer if you look out. You'd notice people in their cars, people on the sidewalk, dogs. Oh, dogs in the cars, sticking their head out, sticking their tongues out. It was just so cute. You'd see a lot of dogs do that here. Feel the cold breeze of Alaska, and it's just very grounding to see. And generally, you can also see just people minding, doing their own business. And sometimes that's entertaining. I find that entertaining because I love people watching. I don't gossip about other people, but I love people watching. So it always pays to look out the window and just be mindfully present. Now, on to our topic. It's this term that we've been hearing for quite a time now, and that is Roman Empire. A Roman Empire, which is way different from the actual meaning of the Roman Empire that we knew or that we know from our history books. In short, this Roman Empire that I am referring to is a slang that is referring to anything, absolutely anything you think about excessively. What do you often tend to think about the most? It can be anything really. Like, for example, you're just sitting here on your chair, daydreaming. And the thing that you daydream about is this one thing that you always daydream about. You don't have any idea why you daydream about it or why you think about it, but you are thinking about it. And that, my friend, is your Roman Empire. So for this episode, I'll be sharing my own Roman Empire in the hopes that it's not only me. Maybe this is your Roman Empire too, because I find it weird. And I hope that somebody is weird as much as me. And that is none other than being hyper aware. I honestly do not know how to best describe it because more than just a thought, it is also a sensation. For example, it just doesn't fuel my mind to think, but it also triggers my emotion, sort of. There's like a sensation that gets triggered inside of me whenever I think about my Roman Empire. For example, on a random day, a random time, I suddenly think of how aware I am that the person who is in the same room as me, for example, the same restaurant as me, has a mind of their own, has a life of their own, a timeline of their own, a purpose of their own, hell, a lifespan of their own. It gets so effed up that sometimes I'll be in the restaurant and I people watch, right? And in my head, I suddenly would think, what if today is their last day? Like, what if they'll get into an accident tomorrow? And I know that's so effed up. That's why I find it weird. And saying it out loud now just gives me goosebumps. Because who in their right mind would think that randomly about a stranger? But that is my Roman Empire. And it's not just that specifically. Like, it can be anything random. Like, I'm just hyper aware that this person exists. This person do not know me. This person might or might not notice me, but I notice them. And they're experiencing life entirely different than how I am experiencing life from the moment I had a mind of my own and up until this moment. We completely have the same or we completely have a different experience. So I become fixated with how, in my mind, I am aware that they might be thinking of something similar or something entirely different than what I am thinking or what I am doing. I become aware that we have plans and lives and perceptions of our own, and in their life, I am somebody they know, somebody they just know. That's it, period. Somebody they know. They only know my name. We're just acquainted, just like that. And that's also their role in my life. We're just acquainted, period. So that's my Roman Empire. I think a lot about how these people in the same room as me had a completely different childhood, completely different upbringing, completely different way of how they navigate life, how they treat the world, how they react to the world, because I do believe that people's actions are just their reactions to what they have experienced early on, which means what they are showing now, how they automatically react right now, is just their reaction, just their action, a part of their reaction based on how they were treated as a kid. Those formative years, the childhood that they experience who they are right now is because of how they were treated back then, especially growing up. And that's also probably why, even when I was a kid, I'm more of the let it be and let it go type of person. I don't get good grades, we lose a game, whatever, you know? I hear somebody say something about me, especially when I was in college, because I always know, always in all ways, I always end up knowing what has been said against and towards me. So, whoever said that, I don't hold grudges. I see you, I'll greet you. I'll be civil and cordial because that's how I was raised. And 100% bad karma kicks you, catches up to you. And it is not something I wish for. I never wish ill on somebody, but I just let it be and let it go because I believe the kind of energy you put out against a person or the kind of energy that you put out in the world is being returned to you 100-fold. It might not be towards you, but it might be towards your loved one, and that's just worst, right? So, yeah, I believe in that energy, and that's the reason why I don't hold grudges. I can never hold grudges. I always forget, honestly. There's this famous quote, forgive and forget. But in my part, I have an inside joke wherein I say I forget before I forgive, which means you did me dirty, I forgot about it because that's just how I view world. I'm hyper aware that this person has undergone something bad, or I just give them the benefit of the doubt. That's why I'm just like hyper aware of how they function as a person. They have a lot of baggage because so do I. I have baggage on my of my own. I operate because of how I was raised. I operate because of what I was exposed to as a child. That's why I choose kindness. I choose to not dwell on it. I choose not to be in any form, kind, type of drama. Like the hint of drama, and I do that. I'm sorry, not sorry, but yeah, if somebody is salty towards me, or if somebody is doubtful with my intentions or with who I am as a person, I just let them be. Because again, I am hyper aware that they have a different reality of their own compared to mine. We both have different realities because we view the world differently. And that was rooted from our childhood. In other words, because of that Roman Empire, because of how I am hyper aware that I am just one out of a billion others, I learned more on how to deal with other people and, more importantly, how to present and carry myself. They might be having a bad day, might be going through some tough time, might have woken up on the wrong side of the bed, whatever. To each his own. What's important for me is you carry yourself with grace, you present yourself with humility, and you listen more than you speak. I'm gonna say that one more time. You listen more than you speak. You listen more than you speak. I'm not gonna explain that phrase. I hope that once you hear that phrase, you would automatically realize how important it is to listen more than you speak. That's how we can make this world kinder. Because if we just speak and speak and speak and speak and we don't listen, we're all just noises. We're all noises, not voices. Because in order to have a voice, you have to listen first. Anyways, I'm ending this episode with something I'm grateful for. Today and every day, I'm grateful for my partner, Kylo, for helping me in the house, especially this week, for being hardworking and for being himself, his genuine self every single day, no matter how other people view him, no matter what other people say about his personality, he's unapologetically himself. And I get inspiration from that. He's teaching me through being himself to become more and more authentic and to not be afraid of being yourself. And that's a wrap. This has been Justice Savannah serving you your brew of the day. Justice out.